Josh, what up, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? I'm good, man.
Man, we
How about
just
yourself?
we've been around each other before, and like
Yeah,
in each other's circle, but we just actually met. When was it? 2 weeks ago. I came to your house for some delicious coffee.
that's right. Blue bottle.
Blue bottle. We both I knew I was gonna like you when we were gonna meet for a coffee somewhere, right? And you said, man, well, the best coffee's at my house. I'll disagree with you because I think the best coffee's at my house. But I was like, God damn, this motherfucker's a coffee snob too. And then
Well,
it was a match made in heaven from there.
here's what we're gonna do. Next time we meet, you're gonna bring your coffee over, and we're gonna do a blind sample taste test.
I
And,
like
and
that.
whoever wins, we say that's the best coffee
That's the best
in
coffee.
Denver.
All
Yeah,
right. All right. We'll do it. We'll do it. So
rock and roll, man.
so the reason that we ended up meeting was that we both I have a student slash, I don't know if he's my mentee or I don't know what he is with me. He's my friend. He's a whole host of things. Lev, that works for you for your new company. And he
Yep.
wanted us to meet and introduce, and we just hit it off. So
Yep.
first, let's talk about this new company that you have.
Sure,
What
man.
is this new thing that you have going on? And I think it's a very important topic to discuss in the world. So
You
go.
bet, man. I'll give you the elevator pitch. Blokes, men's modern health, spawned from my personal experiences in the men's health category. I'm 39, had noticed a lot of dips and just changes in my overall hormone levels. Had a horrible experience going through primary care physicians over a 2-year period, being told I was in, the ranges of what is optimal. And I just knew something was wrong. And I finally sought out a hormone expert in Golden, Colorado, who got me on TRT and started learning the worlds of peptides. And more importantly, I just saw an opportunity in the space and trying to connect dudes to better and easier and more expert-like care, from a virtual manner. I think that's one of the big things that we do that's different is we try to do everything from your house. Everything is at-home injections. Everything is at-home, self-administration. So that's Blokes in a nutshell. We are about 120 days in. I come from 13 years of healthcare experience. So it's not our first rodeo in healthcare, but first one in men's health.
All right. But when you and I were talking, tell me if this is too personal and we cannot
No.
do it. But like this idea of male hormones, right? Like
Yeah.
it's such a don't, oh, poor you feel sad, get over it, And for you, you were telling me it even like affected your sex drive, which is
For
just
sure,
like
man.
crazy for men, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we're supposed to just be want to fuck all the time and right, and then it affects you as a male and who
Yeah,
you are
man.
a little bit. So talk about that experience for yourself, like going through this.
Yeah, man. I think one of the things that we're trying to do, surely and slowly, is change this stigma of not being able to talk about personal feelings and personal health and personal struggles, and that ranges from everything from hormone health to erectile dysfunction to anxiety, mental health, and I think we're finally at the forefront of guys being a little bit more open to talk about this. But my experience is unique to me, but probably a lot of guys go through it. I'd been married for 5 years, and we had some fertility issues and had multiple miscarriages, 5, and as a guy, your sex drive just changes through that. And to be frank, I really didn't know why. I'm in my mid-30s and I'm trying to understand why I'm not fucking my wife on every corner like we used to.
Wanting to, at least, right?
And she was confused as well. And it took somebody to finally look under the hood, do some proper blood checks, do some proper questionnaires, and just realize, like, hey, I wasn't getting erections in the morning. That's a very healthy thing that you should be getting on an often basis, especially in your 30s. And it just wasn't there. The drive, the lure to it. And as a guy in my mid 30s, I didn't really know that there was another option until I really started diving into the world of hormones. And you know what? I'm not unique. I know a lot of guys are walking around the same issues, and they just need to know that there's help, and they need to start talking about it, because most of our guy friends are probably going through the same shit.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, let's be clear here. What you're not pitching is the low T center,
No,
where everyone comes in and has low testosterone. As
no,
long,
man.
I think, what's the top number, 1200 or 1100 or something.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
1200.
if you're
Yeah.
10, if you're 1200, so if you're 1199, you got low T. Let's get it up, right? Like, you know. So
Listen, man, nothing against the low T centers, nothing against a lot of these guys. I think if anything, they've paved a good way for awareness. And you know, there's got to be some nights that are doing that in the space. I would say we take a far more comprehensive, far more service oriented role in that, and really deep diving into the human anatomy, what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. You know, so I think low T centers have done a good job paving the way for guys like us to come from behind and see opportunity and really focus on so many things outside of testosterone.
For sure. Yeah, nothing gets it right. Like you said, they got it started for sure. It just needs to go a little further now, right?
Totally,
like,
man.
There's so much that goes into low testosterone. You could really have something wrong. It could just, it doesn't have to be just low T.
I agree, man. And there's so much that you can tell by spending a lot of time with your patient and really deep diving into really comprehensive labs. It's not just about total and free testosterone. Every guy that they want to know that number, but there's so much else that goes into this business. And there's so much more that goes into diagnosing a patient based off of symptoms and labs.
Right, for sure. So, all right, a little bit away from the business, you know, because this isn't really a quote unquote business podcast. It's more of like how someone got here in their life, because you've been successful, you know. You're you're happy and you do your thing, but it didn't always start that way. So take me, you know, rewind it. You know, you said you're 39.
Yeah.
Rewind it 30 years or so. You know, what was your childhood like, and then we'll go from there.
You know, I was born in Cedar Falls, Iowa, Midwest boy. My dad was military. 20 years. We lived in Fort Bragg, North Carolina for half of those 20. And then we moved to Colorado Springs, Colorado. We transferred out to Fort Carson. And I went to school at University of Northern Iowa. I majored in marketing. And right after school, I went to Chicago. I guess what's unique about me is I had more jobs than I can count on two hands in about 3 years. I think I had an issue with walking into a place and not being the boss right out of the gates. But it was somewhat fortuitous in the fact that I learned what I didn't want to do more than I learned what I wanted to do. I mean, I was doing gigs in advertising. I worked for Target. I worked for Pella Windows. I worked for a staffing company. And then finally, I landed on a med device company about 2008, company called Stryker. Stryker focuses on orthopedic implants, and I was doing stuff with our interventional spine division. Did really well there for about 5 years.
I want to stop you for a sec.
Yeah.
So you said you had, you know, more jobs than anybody should probably in a lifetime in 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how you put it, but something like that. And then you said you learned what not to do.
Yeah.
You learned what you didn't want. And I think this can be so many people's problems. And I want you to talk about it here for a second. Everyone's like, oh, I got to find that perfect thing right away. And sometimes, you know, and that just is, I don't know. I hated all my jobs until this one.
Dude, you know, you're taught at like a young age to find the best job, right? And, you know, I remember at a young age, you know, professors and high school teachers saying, find a job you love and you never work a day in your life. That evolution just takes time. I mean, look how long it took you. I mean, you didn't just, you know, come out of college and say, I'm going to start Easton and I'm going to go fight. It was an evolution. And a lot of this for me was trial by error. I had these great grand visions of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be at a big ad agency in downtown Chicago, working with Pepsi and Gatorade. And then I realized I could barely pay my bills, making $30,000, $35,000 a year, living in the heart of Chicago. And I'm working, you know, 12-hour days. And it quickly, you know, all this stuff started, you know, come to fruition. I'm like, you know what? It's at least a step in one direction of knowing what I don't want to do. And you know, some of it just landed in my lap. It was somewhat luck. It was, a lot of it was just, you know, fortuitous. But, you know, I think people are so focused on finding that right job, but they got to understand, like, you got to take some chinks in the armor before you get to that final goal.
Yeah, it's the scars, right? It's like and it doesn't even mean necessarily that it's bad, right? It's just not for
No,
you at this
totally.
time. Like you have ex-girlfriends. I have a couple ex-girlfriends. They're not bad people,
No.
right? Like they're not like, you're not like, oh my God, I hope they burn in hell and die.
Yeah.
Like it just you guys weren't right for each other at that point in time. I hope they're all very happy.
Yeah.
And which is kind of the way things have to go a little bit, right? Like
Sure, man. For
you have
sure.
to see this okay, this is who I am and what I need, and you kind of figure that out through. But for some reason in our society right now, especially when it comes to work, it's like, no, I have to have this amazing job so I can drive this amazing car and
Totally.
live in this sweet fucking house.
I know, man. And you know, if anything, social media is exasperating that. And
Yeah.
everybody is living one Instagram post, one Facebook post, one TikTok video away from seeing some guy jumping on a private jet. You know, and it just takes time. You know, I had friends, you know, bitch and complain to me about working these corporate jobs. And they're like, do you ever get tired of working for, you know, Stryker or Medtronic? And I'm like, dude, I run my own business and I get tired of working for myself sometimes. But you just got to go through the motion sometime. And I'll tell you what, man, the harder I have ever worked, the luckier I got. The more opportunity I was put in more unique situations to make something out of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, you know, that's a very interesting thing, making something, and it's not out of nothing, right? Because something was created before
Totally.
you, right?
Totally.
You know, you know, Jeff Bezos is, you know, I always like to say Jeff Bezos ain't a self-made man. Somebody made the fucking internet. And without the internet, there'd be no Amazon. So,
Right. Right.
or maybe there'd be an Amazon, but not like it is right now.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've always been a big believer on getting on a pedestal, telling people what you're up to, regardless of what it is. And olive branches will just naturally extend. And I'm a big believer on, regardless of what you're doing, creating some type of motion, because motion creates motion, right? And work momentum and success has momentum behind it. And they all play this evolution of like what you're doing in your career. And I've just been fortunate enough to have some luck and work hard, you know.
how did you get that mentality, right? Because that's such a hard thing for people is, look, just jump in the game, right? Like, okay, just jump in the game and start and see what happens. Because so many people want to have it perfect, right? Like, okay, I need all of my ducks in a row and I need to know how to do this and A, B, and C and D and and then when it's all perfect, I'll jump in the game and I'll make $1 million or I'll make $10 million, you know. But I don't think that's how it worked. Did it work like that for you?
No,
Okay, it didn't work like that for me either.
no.
So just jump in the game. How did you learn that? How did you get this mindset?
Well, you know, I think part of it was childhood. You know, I think just never giving up. I mean, some of those cliche sayings that you know people always tell you actually work. You know, I wrestled as a kid. It was probably the hardest, toughest sport I ever did on an individual basis.
Right.
You know, obviously you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and I respect that sport immensely. The only thing I can remotely compare is wrestling. And
No, wrestling's harder.
Yeah, you know, they're both extremely
They're
hard,
hard.
right?
Yeah, but wrestling's harder.
You know, and adding that component of cutting weight taught me that hard work is successful, and you see results regardless of what they are. And just, you know, just chipping away and doing it. Now, from a career perspective, it was totally different. I think I had all these tools sitting there, but I mean, for lack of words, I didn't have the balls to go out and do it, right? I'm working for a Fortune 500 company. I'm more scared about insurance, health insurance, than creating my own business. And I talk to so many young entrepreneurs.
What do you mean
like,
health
how am I
insurance?
going to get on health insurance?
Oh, your own health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was really interesting because I'm telling my friends, I'm telling my parents, like, I'm going to leave this job. I'm making $350K a year, which is great money. And I'm going to go start my own business. And they're like, what the hell are you thinking, dude? And it was as simple as, you know, going and register an LLC, start making relationships, getting on that pedestal, start telling people, telling former customers what I'm up to. And then, you know, one thing led to another. Now, I will tell you, and I think I told you this in our coffee meeting, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. I left Stryker making good money in my mid 30s, early 30s. And I went from, you know, making good money to making nothing and not having a pot to piss in, blowing through my savings. And I think I told you at one point I was going to go get unemployment, and a mentor talked me out of it. He's like, listen, man, you just keep driving, keep clicking. Things are going to eventually come your way. And they did. You know, one paycheck that was $1,000 led to 2,000 to 4,000. And then I just, you know, things started coming to shape. But I will tell you, it came with a lot of hard work. It came with a lot of drive. And if it wasn't for me staying in my own tunnel, I would have never been able to do it.
Man, it's super interesting as you say that, you know, one paycheck turned into, you know, two paychecks. I saw something. There's a guy named Evan Carmichael. You know what Evan Carmichael is?
I don't. No.
He's a, you know, a bigwig in the entrepreneurial world.
Sure.
Not, you know, he's not Gary V, but you know, he's,
yeah,
you know, and he posted something the other day, and he posted his YouTube subscribers by year.
Wow.
You know? And
yeah.
you know, I'm actually, it's actually up on my screen right now still, because I was talking to somebody else about it yesterday. And in December 1st in 2009, he had 82 YouTube subscribers.
Jesus.
Nothing, right?
Wow.
On December 1st of 2010, he had 200. Nothing.
Wow.
Right? 3 years in, December 1st, 2011, he had 600. Nothing. But he doubles, right? December 1st of 2012, he had 1,200. Still nothing. Right? In this YouTube world. And that's, what are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4 years in, 5 years in, he has 5,000 subscribers. Still nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
6 years in, he quadruples and gets 20,000. But as far as like monetizing YouTube, yeah, you're fucked still, right?
Yeah, right. That's nothing.
Nothing. So he's 6 years in here with 21,000 subscribers. And then you just follow it down. And now he's got 3 million.
Dude, I love those stories, because we constantly live in the now, right?
Mm-hmm,
we constantly evaluate ourselves off of people and where they're at now. And we never take a step back to truly see that evolution. And it happens to me oftentimes, how'd you get here? Well, it was a lot of hard work. And if I could spell it out for you, I would, but it was years in the making. I mean, look at Easton. That's years in the making. How many facilities do you have? 8? You didn't start with 8, you know?
Right. How'd you do it? Well, I don't know. We just, I mean, I know now, but like, it's like, okay, like what you when you think about how you do it, it's just like, I just stayed in the game. Totally. I can remember with Easton, this is a funny story. So we had just opened Denver, right? It was our first big facility. And I had just I purchased the building. We just poured all this money in, right? All this money in. And we do payroll. We have no bills. And our accountant, who's our buddy, he calls me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm about to go teach, Steve. It's a Saturday." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "You need to kick everyone out and lock the doors and close." I'm like, "Dude, we just opened. What the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "Elliot, you have $2,500 in the bank. So unless you and Amal both have like 25,000 each right now, then close and just cancel." I was like, 25. I was like, "Dude, isn't that great that we have $2,500 because we don't owe another bill for a month?"
Yeah, no doubt.
Right. And everyone's going to pay. So let's just see what happens this month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to kick everybody out. I'm going to go teach. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I know how to do the best. I'll talk to you in a month.
Dude, I got to tell you though, man, I think one thing that people don't understand about, small business owners and entrepreneurs is that there's a certain level of risk that you just have to be willing to take. Mm-hmm. Call it balls, call it whatever you want. But there are more times probably for you, and the same thing for me, where I was backed up against the wall and I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And I just believed, and you just believed, and you just stayed course. And like I said, man, that $1,000 turned to 2,000, 2,500 turned to 6,000,
I mean, I think I had like 10 grand. I think I had 10 grand at that point, like to my name,
That's
and
hilarious.
like, you have all these costs and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm still doing that, man.
Hmm.
I'm still extremely, if you looked at my risk profile compared to others, it's extremely high. But I'm comfortable living in that zone, right? I'll take out a second mortgage if I truly believe in something. I'll dip into my kids' college fund if I truly believe in something, because I know the best person to invest in is myself.
Oh, that's a good one. So right, everyone wants the stock market and the real estate market. Man, look, those things are good. I'm not saying that they might not be good, but the number one investor, you just said it, is numero uno, me
Number
right
one,
here.
man.
I'm gonna invest in me before I invest in anything else.
Dude, it's funny, man. I get into all these investments and they're like, yeah, it's 22% IRR and you'll get your money back in 3 years. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's not a bad investment, but I know where I can put some money and do a lot of damage. And it's always me. My wife is the same way. It's always her. We manage all our money, we manage all of our properties, and because we know that if we can control it, we're going to do a better job at making more money. And it's the same thing with any business.
Yeah, for sure. So when you were making that switch,
Yeah,
right, and your family and your friends, like, man, 350K is good money, bro.
great money.
Right? Great, man. I'm sure you had a retirement plan too, right?
Dude, I'm in my mid 30s or early 30s making that type of money. I mean,
Right.
I
And
was
you're
the guy at
single
the bar that bought everybody shots. You know what I
because you're
mean?
single.
Oh, fucking single and mingling, bro.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so you're at the bar buying everyone shots and it's nothing.
Nothing,
Right?
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So what was that feel like? When did you decide to be like, you know what? I'm doing my own thing. How long did that process take?
It was pretty quick once I figured it out. 6 months.
Okay.
Um, I started doing math in my head and I started realizing how much I was working and how much I was working for Stryker. I mean, I was putting 25, 30,000 miles on my car a year, driving from, Pueblo to Grand Junction to Fort Collins. I had the whole state. And, it was seeing some other guys in other industries that were, arm's length away, doing things on their own, a lot happier, but also maximizing their dollar and maximizing their time. So once I figured it out, I think I remember what happened. I was sitting in the OR at PSL, Presbyterian St. Luke's, and I ran into another distributor at the time who was working for himself. And I just started picking his brain. And he's like, yeah, man, you got to stop doing that bullshit corporate stuff. But it's going to take some balls, man. And sure as the next day, I started thinking about it, and the decision just happened over a 6-month period. I was fortunate that Stryker was going through some changes at the time. There were some management changes. A new manager came in. I didn't really like the guy. I didn't connect with them. So it was an easy push for me. The thing I didn't think about was really the financial aspect of it, what it was going to take. I was so gung-ho on making a name for myself that nobody was going to stop me. I had no money put aside for a business. I just literally was like, I'm going to go do this. And if I could have maybe planned it out a little bit better, I would have done that. I would have looked at the finances more of what it's going to take to sponsor myself. But then again, I might not have even done it if I would have looked at that too. So it was pretty quick for me.
And then you built that company. What was building that company like?
So, I started off with a med device distributorship called Kinetic Medical. We had a multi-state distributorship ranging from Colorado, Arizona, Nebraska, Wyoming, Nevada. We were pushing everything from spine implants to pain management products to interventional radiology products to labs. And that business was interesting, man. It took a lot of time. Like I said, there were 6 or 7 months that went by where I didn't make a single dollar. And I was literally at the cusp of going back to corporate and interviewing, and some things just started happening. Call it the universe, call it God, whatever you want. My hard work was starting to actually be rewarded. And I started getting surgeons. I started getting pain management doctors to believe in my vision, believe in the products that I was picking up. And it was pretty exponential once that started, but it took a solid year before I started actually being able to really pay my bills without dipping into my savings account. And then before you know it, I had, about 10 reps underneath me in different markets, repping everything from spine implants to pain management products. And that was where that whole entrepreneurial bug started in healthcare.
And then, do you still have this company?
I do a little bit with it. We moved away. We went really, really heavy into regenerative medicine, or the buzzword stem cells. Okay. And I started a clinic in Las Vegas, Reno, Omaha, and in Des Moines. We have doctors, we have nurse practitioners. Once COVID hit, that space got hit really, really hard. Our demographic was in that mid-60 mark. And it was all out of pocket expenses to the patient, paying, anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 a procedure. So we took a big hit, and that was kind of my transition out of Kinetic Medical. At the same time, I was looking at this men's hormone space, and that kind of evolved as well.
So now you're doing it again, and you're just building again.
Yep, building again, man. I mean, I'm going to lose all my hair in about a year, bro. I'm glad I'm in the hormone space because I'm getting grays really quick.
Nah, man, bald is beautiful, bro. Bald is beautiful.
Hey, man, I'll give it a shot.
I lost my hair at 21.
It looks good on you, bro.
Yeah, some people can do it and some people can't, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think if I shaved mine, you'd be like, God, man, that guy's got dimples and wrinkles all over.
Yeah, and plus sometimes, no offense here, but really, white heads don't look good. Not to be racist, man, but it has to have a little color to it, So
100%, man. I mean, white dudes with shaved heads.
You look like a chemo patient. You look like you have cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you look like you have cancer. So
or you're gonna go range on somebody,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you keep the beard, because then you got you have to get a big white van, and go around and be that weirdo. So,
it's over, man. It's over. I'm not getting it anywhere.
You live in Cherry Creek, man. I don't think it's going to fly. So when you're dreaming big for this business, this is one of the things that I really like to talk to entrepreneurs about, because they're never dreaming small.
No, man.
Right. You're never dreaming small. And, it's called a BHAG, right? A big, hairy, audacious goal. It doesn't even really matter if you hit them, but you have to be shooting at them.
For sure, man.
Right. When you're dreaming big for what you're doing right now, what does that look like?
I mean, I'm in a crawl, walk, run mode, but I do have a grander vision. In a year or less, going out raising money, making this a national brand, meaning in 40 to 50 states. Right now, we're in about 14 states. So raising some money, getting some medical advisors on board that have big household names, making this a household brand. I would be lying to say that our goal within 2 years is be, 10 million in revenue. And then, in 4 to 5 years, be acquired for somewhere between 75 and 100 million. So that's laid out. Whether or not we're staying on track, we'll see. But, I feel confident with that number, and I feel confident that we can do it. I think we've assembled one of the best teams in this space, and it's a lot of clinics say that, but when we deep dive into the body and the person, we have over 100 years of experience just in hormones on my team that are making all our medical decisions. That is ultimately what's going to move the needle and going to get us referrals and referrals. So now it's just putting the business together and growing sustainably.
Yeah. The reason I asked you that is because I think a lot of people, the New Year's coming up, and they're like, oh, this is what I'm going to do this year. They're like, they make these New Year's resolutions and they don't fail. And I believe it's because they have nothing that they're pointing at, right? There's no direction to where they're going, where for you, you're like, okay, I'm going to get to 75 to 100 million, and then I'm going to be acquired. So you're pointing at that. Now, whether that takes 5 years, 10 years, okay, maybe it takes 7 or somewhere in between. That's not the concern, really. Right. But you have something that you're pointing at, that you're working towards for this bigger reason and this bigger why. And, to connect entrepreneurship and life, I think you need to do the same thing with your life.
Totally.
Right? Where do you want your life to sit in 5 years? And I almost made a decision, and I was really glad that I didn't. I was almost about to become the head coach of the fight team again. And I was right there. I was literally probably days away. And I sat down and I had a therapy appointment.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I tell her this, and like I just see her face, and she's like, huh? And I got this old 75-year-old lady, right? Or 70-year-old lady, and I fucking love her. It's her, my mom, it's my mom, my wife, or my wife, my mom, and then her. They're my favorite women in my life,
Yeah.
And she's like, this is nothing like you described that you want your life to look like.
Sure.
It'll be fun. It might be fun. It might be like an ego trip, like, but that's not, but you have those things over there that you said you wanted to do in your life. And
Totally.
that's not on there.
Yeah.
And that's just that entrepreneurial mindset, right? Like, so when you think about your life, Josh, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years?
Dude, I got to tell you, man, I'm not afraid of retirement, bro. And if that's 5 years or 10 years, that's in the horizon. And the reason why is because I really, really enjoy being a dad, man. I have a almost 4-year-old daughter and an almost 1-year-old son. And I spend a substantial amount of time on my work. There is not a work-life balance for me. If one is abundant in one category, the other one's suffering. And at 45, 50 years old, man, I got a lot of tread on the tires. And there was an epiphany when I started this business that my son is almost 1. So I'm 39. Okay, let's just say I'm 40 for even math. When he's 20, I'm gonna be 60 fucking years old, man. Like, I want to be skiing. I want to be going off of cliffs. I want to be charging. I want to be going up to Red Rocks with my kids. So, working hard right now and having the ability to play hard is really important. So I'm making the sacrifices on the work to get to a bigger personal side. And, when 50 hits, I hope I'm at a decision or a crossroads to say, you know what, man, I'm done. I've made good money. Time to focus on my kids, time to focus on my wife, and time to focus on just being a better person.
Yeah.
And not that I can't do that in the interim. It's not, but you only have so much time in the day, man. And, startups are not easy. There are a lot of stress, and it's a lot of time involved. I literally, at the end of each day, I say there's always more work to be done, but I just got to close it down. And tomorrow I'm going to come back. I take my peptide spray and I'm right back at it charging. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because I have a little bit older kids than you, and, getting back to my decision about like the fight team, for example, like my kids love sports and they are so into it. And I love sports with them. And they're at that age where it's like my youngest is 8 and my oldest is 12, where they're really starting to get good at it. I don't want to miss their sports games. I don't want to, I don't want to be like, no, dad, I want to be like, yo, I want to, I kind of am that annoying parent, like, let's go, like that. Like, yeah.
I mean, those are living, breathing specimens of you,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, man, like the last 2 weeks have been pretty gnarly in my life. And it's reaffirmed why I'm doing this, why I'm doing a health company. Also why I want to put more time into family. And, my best friend, his dad was just put on a ventilator. He's survived multiple myeloma for 12 years, was given 2 years to live. My stepfather was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And, as guys and women the same, we have to take care of ourselves to have, an optimal future in health. And the last thing I want to do is be 60 years old, look like some old grandpa. I want to be charged with my kids, and optimizing my health is part of that. But ultimately, to get there, I got some other steps I got to take.
I'm a little worried about 60. I made some earlier life choices with pro fighting that might fuck me at 60, man.
I've left some brain cells at Red Rocks. That's for sure.
Shit. Cool, man. There's always these last 2 questions that I like to ask everyone as we close up the podcast here. Blokes probably won't get a single customer.
That's all good, man.
From doing this podcast, right?
All good, brother.
So, yeah, right. So why, and you said, you're busy, you got a wife, you've had all this turmoil. I ask everyone this, why take the time to come on a podcast and talk to somebody for, 45 minutes to an hour here, about life and about your life and your journey. So, because you could have like tried to make money during this time. So,
Absolutely.
or hang with the kids. So why do it, man?
I think it's a good question. I mean, I'm all about relationships, man. I truly believe that if there's not a monetary value from this, there will be something else in the long run. And I don't think my story is necessarily that amazing, but if somebody can connect with what I've done, I mean, listen. My dad was in the military. He was enlisted. My mom was high school educated, flight attendant. I made a lot out of a little. And if there's one person that listens to this podcast and can connect, then so be it. But also, like, listen, I want to build a relationship with you, man. I love your story. I love what you have to say. I think your issues with anxiety and approaching that, every guy, every woman goes through that. I mean, I connected with that immensely. I had a damn near breakdown yesterday just thinking about all the shit I had to do. And I just had to take a step back. And I thought about our story. I had my friend over that I think I told you about, that's dealing with really bad anxiety issues. Yeah. And I think, listen, if it's small changes, if it's not even something that's a big financial rewarding position, then we're doing our job, man. And I hope that you and I can get the word out on talking about these things. It's not just hormones. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's this shit called COVID that we're going through. People are stressed, man, and sometimes you just need to talk.
Yeah. You said it's relationships, and you never know where that's going to go, financial, not financial, just like, and because you can't unconnect the two. Like, what if one day I need something, I'm about to break down, and I call you and you get me out of it. And that conversation, just like somebody being there for you, snaps you out, and then boom, you charge. And then you do whatever it is you do with your life, but you could draw it all back to just having a relationship with one person.
100%, man. And I'll tell you what, man, for those who are listening, if you approach everything with an open mind, relationships or not, there will be more fruit at the end. I mean, this is like the gift of giving, right? I hope I'm impacting your life in a positive manner. You're certainly doing that for me. And, people need to hear about these type of stories, just to talk about it a bit more, man. And I've never had a relationship that has turned into nothing. There's always something where it goes.
100%. Last question, man. I believe everyone has a power in the world, a unique thing for them that makes them like, their superpower. It doesn't necessarily make you really rich or famous, or I don't know what it does, but it's you. What would you say your power is?
It's definitely thinking big, bro. I mean, I'm a big thinker, and I, like you asked, you said, do you have a plan for this business? You bet your ass I do, and it's not small. And if I don't think big, I'm never going to achieve it, right? I mean, you reach for a star, you might not get it, but you're not going to come up with mud either. And I think if there was one thing, that would be it. The second thing, I think I'm a pretty good dad, man. If there's a superpower for being a dad, that's it. I wish I could read minds, but I haven't been able to accomplish that yet.
Man, I'm trying still.
I'd love to know yours, man. What's your superpower?
Man, my superpower is the ability to help other people see their power.
That's amazing.
To help you find your power,
That's you.
So that is what I do best, I would say.
I saw a quote recently. I don't remember who it was, but they said, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I think that is similar to how you have that ability to develop others. You're seeing potential where they're not seeing it, and you're bringing the best out of them. I think that's an incredible gift.
Yeah, where Easton is, like the people that run Easton, they all started as like our students and my students. I was very close to them, and now they're so much better than me. Like they're stupidly better than me. Like I don't even. I mean, like they give me a seat at the table because I'm like the dad. Me and them all, but like. Other than
Bald-headed
that, like
guy.
yeah, I'm the big bald headed guy, So, but I don't really know if I deserve a seat at the table anymore because they're just, they've achieved so much that, out of respect, they give it to us, but they're amazing,
Well,
when they
dude,
big, yeah. So,
I mean, pat yourself on the back because nobody else will. You know,
yeah.
I'm a big believer in a little bit of self recognition and a lot of
Yeah.
humility, right?
Yeah.
But that's the room that you built, man. That's the foundation that you allowed these people who probably came in off the street, they didn't know what the hell they were doing when it
Well, we
comes.
all did. We're a bunch of vagabonds that were lost.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
look at them now, man. I mean, that's a hell of a superpower, bro.
It's a cool one. We have an amazing community. So man, thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find out about Blokes or you or whatever it is they're doing. I know Blokes is the thing that you're really trying to push right now. Look, I'm on therapy,
Yeah.
it's really helped my life. You're on therapy. Don't, it's not like you're a bitch thing. We got to get over that stigma,
Dude.
right? It's none of that, right? This is almost an uncontrollable thing for a lot of people. So tell everyone where it is they can find Blokes and all of that stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah, easy, man. Blokes.co, not blokes.com, but blokes.co. You can find us on Instagram at Get Blokes. Super easy. Everything is virtual. We have a national contract with LabCorp. We incorporate anywhere from 6 to 8 labs on an annual basis. So we're really looking under the hood. You get a ton of one-on-one time with myself and my team. And we get you on your way. And I think you're right, man. Like hormones is something that we need to talk about, both male and female. And I'm on this mission to try to understand how many divorces end because they have shitty hormones. And I can tell you this: we saved one marriage, just my wife and I, by me getting my hormones dialed in. So don't be ashamed. Talk to your boys, talk to your friends, talk to your loved ones, because it's just a real problem. And aging is undeniable. It is undeniable for a man and a woman. And once you start hitting that mark about 30 years old, shit starts changing.
Yeah, 100%. So guys, Josh, first, thanks for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you in Vegas this weekend, maybe.
Let's go, bro.
So, yeah, let's go.
I'll be there.
As always, Josh has his superpower, that the thing that makes him unique and amazing in the world. And I have my superpower, the thing that makes me unique and amazing in the world. Don't go out in the world and try to be Josh, and don't go out in the world and try to be me. Everybody go out there and find your power.
Rock and roll, brother. Thank you, man.